Deep within the mist-shrouded Key Mountains of Japan, far from the neon glow of its sprawling cities, lies a story whispered only in hushed tones. It's a tale that clings to the ancient cedar trees and echoes through the silent valleys, a chilling account that defies all logic and explanation. For generations, these mountains have been a place of both sanctuary and fear, home to ancient shrines and legends of spirits who guard the forests. But one of these legends is not ancient. It is a modern mystery, a raw wound in the nation's memory. The village was called Sugisawa. For centuries it was a small, self-sufficient hamlet of just over 200 souls, a place where time seemed to move at a different pace. Its people were known for their unique indigo dyeing and their deep respect for the mountain they called home. They lived, they worked, they raised families, their lives woven into the very fabric of the landscape. Until one day, in the autumn of 1978, they didn't. A lone census taker, making his decennial trek up the winding mountain path, arrived to find a silence that was profound and deeply unsettling. The air, usually filled with the sounds of children playing and the rhythmic clang of a blacksmith's hammer, was utterly still. The village of Sugisawa had, for all intents and purposes, simply vanished. The scene that greeted the first investigators was something out of a fever dream. Homes were left unlocked, their paper screen doors torn and fluttering in the wind. Inside, tables were set for the morning meal, the food now cold and petrified. Tea kettles sat on hearths, the embers long since turned to ash. In the small one-room schoolhouse, a lesson on the seasons remained half-written on the blackboard. Outside, laundry was still pegged to lines, stiff and bleached by the sun and rain. A child's spinning top lay on its side in the middle of the main path, a silent, lonely testament to an interrupted life. Everything was in its place except for the people. Every man, woman, and child, all 212 residents of Sugisawa, were gone. The official police investigation was one of the largest in the prefecture's history, but it yielded nothing. They searched every home, combed every inch of the surrounding forest, and dragged the nearby river. Yet they found no signs of a struggle, no evidence of a mass exodus, no bodies, no graves. It was as if the entire population had been plucked from the earth by an invisible hand. The case was eventually closed, filed away under unexplained mass disappearance, a bureaucratic tombstone for an entire community. But the story didn't end there. For the people in the surrounding valleys, the official report meant little. They spoke of older things, of kamikakushi, spirited away by the gods or demons of the mountain. They warned of a powerful curse, an ancient pact that was broken. Decades later, the mystery endures, attracting both scientists and spiritualists. Geologists have scanned the area for signs of a sudden landslide or toxic gas leak, finding nothing. Paranormal investigators have recorded chilling electronic voice phenomena, whispers in the static that they claim are the lost souls of Sugisawa. Was it a natural disaster that left no trace? A bizarre collective psychological event? Or did the residents of Sugisawa stumble upon something they shouldn't have, awakening a force that consumed them whole? The truth remains buried, locked away in the heart of the mountain, waiting. This is the haunting, unsolved mystery of Japan's vanishing village. Some say the villagers were taken by spirits, others believe it was a government cover-up. But the truth is stranger than fiction. The legend dates back to the early 1980s. In a small, isolated settlement, life was simple. Farmers, fishermen, and families living quietly, cut off from the modern world. Until one day, they all disappeared. In the labyrinthine heart of Japan's Key Mountains, where ancient forests guard their secrets with a jealous silence, lies a place that time forgot. Nagoro, a village so remote it had begun to fade from modern maps, was little more than a whisper on the wind. In the autumn of 1978, a team of 3 government surveyors was tasked with charting these forgotten territories. For them, it was a routine assignment, days of trekking through dense cedar and cypress. They expected to find overgrown paths and perhaps the weathered ruins of an old shrine. They were not prepared for what they found instead. After 3 days of arduous hiking, they crested a ridge and saw it nestled in the valley below. Nagoro. Smoke curled lazily from a few chimneys, a picturesque scene of rural tranquility. But as they descended the final winding path into the village proper, a profound and unsettling stillness greeted them. The usual sounds of village life, the chatter of neighbors, the cry of a child, the clang of a blacksmith's hammer, were absent. The only sound was the rustle of leaves and the distant call of a crow. It was a silence so complete, it felt like a physical presence. Hesitantly, the lead surveyor called out. His voice, swallowed by the quiet, received no answer. They approached the nearest house, a traditional farmhouse with a thatched roof. The shoji screen door was slid partway open, an invitation and a warning all at once. Peering inside, they found an eerie sight that would be repeated in every home they dared to enter. Doors left open, meals still sitting on tables, tools scattered as if dropped mid-use. In the next house, a woman's weaving loom stood in the center of the room, a complex pattern of silk half-finished. In another, a go board was set for a game, a tense, unresolved battle. They found schoolbooks open on a desk, a brushstroke of ink still wet on a practice sheet of calligraphy. A child's spinning top lay on its side in the middle of the main path. Every scene was a frozen moment, a life interrupted with surgical precision. Panic began to curdle in their stomachs. They moved faster now from house to house, their calls growing more desperate. Each discovery added another layer to the impossible mystery. There were no signs of a struggle, no violence, no fire or natural disaster. The livestock in the pens were gone. Even the village dogs were nowhere to be found. It was a complete and total evacuation, yet it looked nothing like one. It was as if over 300 souls had simply evaporated. The surveyors stood in the center of the silent village as dusk began to paint the sky in shades of purple and orange. The dust would begin its slow, inexorable settlement over everything. They were standing in a ghost town that wasn't old, a museum of the immediate past. It looked as though the villagers of Nagoro had collectively stood up, walked away in the middle of their lives, and never, ever came back. The question that screamed in the silence was not just had happened, but had they all gone? With no official explanation, theories spread fast. Some whispered about kamikakushi, the ancient folklore of people being spirited away by angry gods or vengeful spirits. Others suggested something more otherworldly, UFO abductions, or a shift into a parallel dimension. The official narrative of the Nagoro vanishing is one of confusion, a story that quickly unraveled under the weight of its own inconsistencies. But what truly transforms this baffling event into a chilling modern-day ghost story are the countless, unsettling details left behind. When the first responders from the Miyoshi District Precinct cautiously entered the village, they were met not with chaos, but with a profound and unnerving stillness. It was as if the entire population of 300 souls had simply evaporated in the middle of a perfectly ordinary Tuesday afternoon. The scene was a tableau of interrupted life, frozen in time. On a kitchen table, a bowl of ramen sat steaming, its chopsticks resting as if the diner had just stepped away for a moment. In a nearby home, a television flickered, broadcasting the afternoon news to an empty room. But it was the personal effects that painted the most disturbing picture. Diaries and journals were found open on desks, their entries terminating abruptly. One, belonging to a teenage girl, ended mid-sentence. "I see it now, outside my window, the fog is..." The rest of the page was blank. What fog? The weather reports for that day showed nothing but clear skies for miles. And then, there were the calendars. In every single home, without exception, the page was turned to August. Every calendar, from traditional wall hangings to digital desk clocks, was frozen on the same day, Tuesday, August 14th. It was a silent, unanimous testament to the exact moment time had stopped for the people of Nagoro. A day that, according to all official records, held no astronomical or civic significance. It was just the last day. The only signs of life were the village's animals. Dogs were found whimpering on porches, leashes still attached to garden fences, waiting for a walk that would never come. Cats roamed the silent streets, their calls echoing unanswered. These creatures, loyal companions to the vanished, were left behind in a state of confusion and distress. Their presence was a heartbreaking paradox, proof of the life that once filled these homes, and a stark, living reminder of the people who were now inexplicably gone. In the face of mounting media frenzy, the official response was swift and dismissive. A spokesperson for the Tokushima Prefectural Police held a press conference, attributing the event to a coordinated voluntary relocation, or perhaps a local protest that has been sensationalized by the press. They spoke of exaggeration, of rumor-mongering. They urged the public to remain calm and trust that there was a rational explanation. But for the investigators on the ground, these explanations felt hollow, a desperate attempt to paper over a terrifying void. One detective, speaking anonymously years later, recalled, "We were told to file it as a missing persons case, but how do you file a report for an entire village? It wasn't a crime scene, it was like a rapture. If it was a simple relocation, a protest, or a mass delusion, then the government's next move made no sense at all. Within a week, the roads leading to Nagoro were blockaded. Prefectural police were replaced by stern-faced men in unmarked uniforms who turned away everyone, journalists, family members, and former residents alike. The official reason given was geological instability and the risk of a localized contaminant. But no geological surveys were ever published. No details of the contaminant were ever released. The village was simply erased from the map, surrounded by fences and warning signs, shrouded in a veil of government-enforced secrecy. If there was nothing to hide, why build a wall around the truth? If everyone simply left, why was the government so determined to ensure that no one could ever go back? Folklorists tie the story to ancient tales of entire groups being taken to the spirit world. In Japan, disappearing villages have long been part of ghost stories, but this was different. This was real. Some believe the Japanese government knew the truth, that the village was exposed to a chemical leak or something experimental. Instead of admitting it, they erased the people and the story. Today, the area is avoided. Locals refuse to speak about it, and maps no longer list its location. Some who've gone searching say they've found crumbling buildings hidden deep in the woods. Others claim it's simply gone, as if swallowed by the earth itself. The Vanishing Village of Japan remains one of the strangest mysteries ever told. Was it spirits, aliens, or something humanity wasn't meant to see? One thing is certain: the truth disappeared along with the people.